starting. It's about 8:55 now. So.
Oh, 55,
okay. All right, easy.
All right, so hey guys, welcome to the second edition of
Mates. Don't say it. Mates. It's like we started.
So, we start. Oh. All right, 3.
Yeah, you can go.
Hey guys, welcome to Talking Footy, the second edition of basically our setup. So, what we're going to go over tonight, we're going to go over the All-Australian team. We're going to go over the finals, the first week of finals, and we're just going to have some general chit-chat just about the games and the issues of the past week. And I'm going straight away to the man of the hour, A-Russ. The final series. Yeah, you go, sir.
The old finals fixture. Ooh, mate, we've got Thursday night, as you would expect. We've got the Power. Then we've got the Lions on Friday night. But then we come to Saturday, and this is just no good. We've got the Bulldogs and the St Kilda Footy Club. 4:40 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon. What is going on in the brain department of the AFL? I just don't get it. I don't know. I just cannot. I can't comprehend this. Like, why 4:40? 4:40 is when all the shit games are on. There is never a good game on at 4:40 for starters. Like, I just don't understand why. Like, they should have. Then they've got the Perth game on at 8:10, which is already a crap time as well. That's just shit. So I reckon, like, in my opinion, they should have done the Perth game first. Put the Perth game on at about 3. So then that's like a 1 o'clock start for Perth. That's still all right for Perth. Then that'll finish around the news time. Then straight after the news, you're going to St Kilda Bulldogs. Like, I reckon that's just a much better setup. Like, I don't understand why Saturday afternoon footy is dead. It's like, it used to be the pinnacle of AFL. Now it's not even on TV on free to air anymore. But yeah, it's just very frustrating. But yeah, there's me rant for the vidcast.
Thanks, Russ. Thanks for that, mate. Yeah, look, we agree very highly. We know you're fuming about it. We copped it in the voice memo already. So, but yeah, it's going to be a very interesting final series. We're very, very looking forward to it. Still not sure why there's a break between weeks. Should probably just flow straight into next week. Stuff these resting players.
It's annoying.
It's a lot to look forward to. So, but if you want to hear that, stay tuned next week for episode 3.
I like that.
All right, we're just going to go over the games of round 18. Starting off, and Jez is going to kick us off with the North Melbourne West Coast game.
Oh,
you sure
boy.
It's not Port Adelaide, mate?
Port Adelaide. Sorry, Port Adelaide.
As well have been Port Adelaide. Jesus, hate Christ. That
Fucking
game.
hell. If I had $1 for every time.
We'd be
like
rich
that
after
game.
the first episode.
Love that we're already calling back.
Yeah, North Eagles last week, and boy, oh boy, was that a bit of a snooze fest.
That is like a 4:40 game on a Saturday.
Mate, you couldn't have put it any better. That was. I don't know why. I actually watched most of that game.
Well.
Don't ask me why. Like, don't ask. Why did I watch it? I don't know. I literally watched it because North were in front. I just wanted to see if North could win. But, like, didn't even look. I don't know. Were Eagles even trying? I don't know. Like, Adam Simpson blamed it on the old Dewey conditions, but yeah, I don't know. Like, the Eagles are looking a bit shaky. They've got a very long injury list, so yeah, they need the week off will definitely be good for them to get some players back. So
yeah,
100%.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we got a North Melbourne going into that game knowing they're going to cut 11 players after the game. So
yeah, what was that about? Can you? Like, come on, if you're a North Melbourne player, you'd be pretty salty coming out of that, seriously. And I think the amount of players that they've culled is just extraordinary. Like, don't get me wrong, obviously they haven't had the best season, but that was just huge.
Yeah, there are a few players I think that can get a game at another club. But the thing that surprised me most is that they want to part ways with Ben Brown. I know he didn't have a good year this year, but the previous 2 years he was nearly all Australian. He was kicking 60, 70 goals. He can fit right into a really, really good side. So looking forward to see where he goes.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's got to go to like a really good team. I reckon. I think he'll end up in a top 6 side. Like I reckon I could definitely see the Cats going for him with Tom Hawkins getting older now. I reckon he'd be a real good fit for Geelong. So interesting to see how that's going to play out. Yeah. Also, what do you reckon about Jared Polek? every time he plays, he gets a lot of the ball. He's got really good disposal efficiency, but yet he keeps getting dropped. Like, he's obviously not doing the team thing, so he obviously doesn't get along with Reece Shaw. So he's another one. I reckon he could probably look for a new home as well. I know it would be on less money, but for more opportunity, I reckon he could easily go to a really good club, like another club like Geelong with an aging midfield, or just a really top tier club just to add that polish to help him win the flag.
Yeah, Russ, like, that's the thing. North are paying these overs on these guys that aren't the top liners. Like, Jared Pollock is not going to be, like, I don't know what they were watching at Port. I don't know what the North recruiters were seeing, but they're like, this guy's worth, what was it, 700, 800, whatever he's worth.
Yeah,
And as you said, and Chloe Vita said as well, it's 500 max, if that. Like, that's the Pittard win there for fucking chips. Like, they got him, and then they're like, we'll get Pittard as well. And Pittard's not a bad player. Well, obviously did get dropped, but Holek for me, he like, that's also the way when you say he could play well for Atras, you're saying he could work well in the system. Like a lot of the Richmond guys, a lot of the Geelong guys, like being of the great teams, like
that's right.
Even the Hawthorns, the Bulldogs as well. No, maybe not the Carltons, but being of the players in that system, Russ, I think of like where they fit in. The coach goes, okay, you've got a job, and they do it. Like,
that's right. Because if you look at like Richmond's list, they have a couple of superstars, but a lot of their players are just role players. Like, some of them probably wouldn't even fit in at those lower clubs. So
Shai Bolton's not a fucking, like, he's good. He's not like great. Like, he's not like your top, like, liners, like top 1%.
Yeah, exactly.
In the league. So
that's right.
Very interesting.
Correct.
Anyways.
Yeah, moving on to West Coast now. So it was, like, who was the name we said was out for finals, Ben, again?
Elliot Yeo.
Yeah, Elliot Yeo.
Yeah.
So that's a massive loss. That's a really big loss. That could really hurt them come, like, I saw it, and they'll beat the Pies, but coming to the crunch time in like the second week of finals, or even the third week if they make it, I reckon that'll hurt them a lot. So yeah,
it'll be a tough one. I think, like you said about the injury list, it is tough, but they are a good side, and they've got plenty of very good players. I think they'll do a job in finals. But yeah, not too sure. Elliot Yeo is a big out for sure, though.
Yeah, and then obviously McGovern's out for that first final as well. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on the others. I think they should have a few players coming back, but yeah.
Right.
I still think they'll beat the Pies, but who knows? You never know. Collingwood at their best could still win.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a tough one because you boys are bang on. Like, they've got quite a few players that are due to come back, which should be exciting. Like, Kennedy should be coming back first round, which is huge for them. Who else from memory? Jamie Cripps, I think, is supposed to come back as well.
Yeah,
so not
I think Cripps is coming back.
Yeah, Jetta as well, potentially, which could be interesting. And McGovern probably second round of finals. So we'll have to see. I think Shuey as well in a couple of weeks. So there's a few of them who should be coming back. the crowd fave. So it could be interesting. And I think the other problem is too that Collingwood have been pretty out of form lately. Like, they have not been looking. They've been looking so far from their best, it isn't even funny. So I think if West Coast get even just a couple of those players that I've just read out back, then I think they're going to be really dangerous, regardless of losing a player as good as Yo.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Chloe. Like, they don't win a premiership without Kennedy or even McGovern. You could probably try, but like, as good as Brad Shepherd's been and all these guys are down back in Schofield and stuff, like, McGovern's like, you're not going to win a premiership without him and or Kennedy a full forward, because I know Ben's favourite player, Jack Darling, up there. Jeez, he's not kicking 5 or fucking at the Gabba. Oh, Jesus Christ, if he's kicking 5.
You can find Jack Darling in a Krispy Kreme box. He's that much of a donut. So, yeah. Look, Jez, I don't really want to speak about Jack Darling, so we're not even going to speak about West Coast. We're going to move on to the St Kilda GWS game, where St Kilda absolutely belted GWS, and I was the only one to get their tip right. Thank you very much.
Oh, you tipped on, mate.
Yes, he was. We're proud of you, B.
Why we had faith in the Giants is just beyond me.
I don't know.
They have the worst culture in the footy in the footy game right now.
The big crap all year, like.
Yeah, but I guess, well, I'm sure Russ and Jez feel free to jump in here, but for me, I think it was because it seems that whenever GWS are playing shit and people give them crap for it or they call them out, they, you know, seem to just like return with all this gusto and, you know, kind of send a big fuck you to everyone else. Like, you know, we're here, we're good.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, Beej, you're absolutely right. It's, from the sounds of it, you know, everything coming out of that club in the media, their culture is just absolutely cooked. And like, you know, we've talked about this so much at length on, you know, on the good old group chat, but I think honestly, most of it boils down to the fact that, you know, they don't have a good culture because they haven't really gone through any tough times together. They haven't gone through adversity. They haven't, you know, had any sort of reason to like emotionally bond and to like, you know, kind of push each other to that next step.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
I think GWS could become the new Adelaide Crows, where they lost that grand final and they'll blame it on the grand final, like Adelaide blamed it on their bloody power stance, whatever that was. So, yeah, look.
There's a lot going on there.
I really don't know what's going on with GWS, but they did have some bad news, but some great news with Carlton supporters coming out today. So if the Carlton boys, they're very excited. Tommy Brown, I think it was reported that Zach Williams has said to all other clubs.
Tommy Brown, he just loves the story, Tommy Brown.
Loves
the scoop.
End of the hour. He's my favourite media reporter after breaking that news up.
I wouldn't go.
Mate, very, very, very good news for these fans. Was it 4-year deal? Were they saying? Did we say?
5 year deal. 5.
Yeah,
that's a long deal. 5 years. 5 years is always risky for me. Like I like it, but it is a risk. But I reckon it's a very, very good acquisition. Good foot skills, good outside player, and yeah, he'll give us that skills that we definitely need to play. Sort of, he can push it to the mid as well. Help out you guys like your younger guys like Walsh and Setterfield, and obviously help out Cripps as well.
Yeah, great replacement for a legend going out of the game in Cade Simpson. So
yeah, exactly right.
Obviously, you hope he spends a bit more time in that middle, but if he's playing off halfback, perfect replacement for Simpson. So
yeah, that's right.
And like speaking of Zach Williams, like Chloe was saying, like you talk about the culture there. So basically, to get Williams and Core, they go, well, if you don't want to be here, basically get fucked. And they said, all right, well, we're going to leave. Like, I think we've all said at length, but it's pretty fucking basic. Like, as you said, Claude, they've gone through the hardships. I think Beach said as well. They haven't done, you know, these sorts of, you know, like they should have won the flag at 16. Obviously, we've said that a billion times, but yeah, they're just the culture there. They don't want to play for each other. They don't put any respect in the fucking jumper. It's just like, and they're all like fucking pointing the finger. They fucking dropped Niglio. He had a good game against the Saints, but it's still like you sort of stick fat for your captain. And I think him or Berg, I reckon, should have been the one dropped before Caniglio. Some of those boys, it's going to be interesting to see how they respond next year. But yeah, as we said, we love Zach Williams in the back line, and that's all we got to do. As fucking, we got to take a stand. Like we've got 2 people here obviously to go for Carlton, and we're probably the majority in all this in terms of like everyone. We want to see these sorts of decisions. Like we're putting it back. Let's get fucking Williams. Let's actually start doing something as a fucking club. Fucking sick of not being in September. Fucking annoys me.
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah.
You just accept it. I don't know. I never have faith in play anymore. Yeah, hopefully that'll change next year.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry, bitch.
Absolutely. To quote Russ, I believe he said, "I'm sick of a what was it? What was the word? I'm sick of a like admirable effort or something."
Yeah.
When everyone says, "Oh, it was a good, respectful effort," I'm over that crap now.
Fuck a respectable effort. Get the W. Stop.
Oh yeah, I'm sick of it. No more good efforts next year. Every loss is bad.
We've seen like the Dogs, Hawks, Pies. We've seen them fucking win premierships, and we never won a fucking premiership. That's all our mates. But yeah. See what happens next year.
Yeah. Moving on to Essendon, Melbourne, first Saturday game. Obviously, we're gonna not really chat about the game because it was a good game, even though some of us turned it off.
Probably only for the last quarter when Essendon tried to play catch up and
all right. If by any chance that an Essendon supporter or an Essendon staff member are watching this, please take my advice. You are within 7 points of winning this game. Draper is on top of Max Gawn. Worsfold brings off Draper and puts Danaher in the ruck. You guys are messed in the head. I don't know what it was. I have absolutely no idea what you guys were thinking. He was dominating Gawn, and all you see is waving, get off, and then Danaher goes in the ruck, and Melbourne go down and kick 2 goals. Top that, you cockheads.
He's going brain department.
Idiot.
Also,
I love that.
Also, got to bring it up. Another thing that happened in that game, I didn't see it, but I Triple M going just absolutely berserk over it. Shez already knows. After the game, right? So like both teams have they've set the line up like for John Worsfold. So they've set like a guard of honor for John Worsfold. And Tom Bell-Chambers is just on the ground, just chilling because obviously it's his last game. Tom Bell-Chambers thinks the lineup is for him and just starts just walking straight through that line, just thinking it's a bit of me time. And he's just absolutely loving it. I just did not realise. And JB's just going absolutely ballistic.
Oh, he loved it.
Mate, it was the funniest thing ever. They were going on about it for about 10 minutes and it was still funny. It was just, it was good.
I rate that how, like, as you were saying, like, I remember watching it as well, like, at the end, and he just walks off. And it's like, well, it's not for you, mate. Like, you've only played, 100-something games.
Yeah, they were saying on there, they're like, only if you've played over 250 games, you'll never get scared off to have a guard of water.
Actually, apart from that, and then also Beach, had in the, I don't know if you're able to splice what he actually said in the group chat, but it was some of the funniest 40 seconds I've ever fucking heard. How he's like, Danaher was on the way to Sydney to turn around.
Okay, so Essendon really want they said to Danaher they want to keep Danaher, and I'm just like, why would you want to keep a bloke that's played for 2.5 years, that's more injury prone than Alex Johnson, who's done his ACL 7 times? He was on a plane an hour on the way up to Sydney. Dodoro called him and said, nah, we want you to play. Had to do a U-turn. Now Papley's staying at the Swans, and now you get an injury prone player that's going to kick garbage, and he might as well get sobbed out for Billy Gowers. He's that bad.
That was all time. That's fucking. It was just the way you said it.
It's frustrating. Essendon frustrating me so much. But I'm going to let Chloe take the lead on this. There was an incident during the week with a Melbourne player. What did he do, Chloe? What did he do?
Oh, God. So, just when we think that we've gotten out of, all of these players, we think that, all right, surely there's been that many incidents of COVID breaches, they've all got their heads screwed on straight. Fucking bullshit. Now we've got another player who, right at the end of the season goes, oh, no, boys, I'm sick of this. And, got busted for breaching restrictions. It's like, how many fucking times do we have to go through this? Like, it cannot be more clearer. It's in black and white. They've had so many meetings about it. So, Melbourne have been slapped with, however many tens of thousands of dollars. He's gotten, I think, a 4-game suspension off the top of my head. It's just like, pick up your fucking act. Like, we've talked about this so much. Like, I think it just shows how privileged these fucking players are when they can't, just keep to simple rules. Like I said, it's the last game of the season. Like, okay, if Melbourne actually made finals, then, different story. But for Bennell to just fuck up like that, it's like, come on, you can do so much better than that. It's just fucking pathetic, honestly. Yeah. Bottom line.
Yeah, and just
quickly, is he even going to play for Melbourne next year, or is he going to get cut?
Well, yeah, who knows?
I don't think he gets a contract next year.
Yeah. And that's just stupidity, because, if you just quickly to add on that before we move on, he's out for 4 games. Imagine Melbourne make finals, they somehow get to the grand final, he doesn't play 1 game.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
So
that's exactly right.
That's just it's so frustrating. And at the time he did it, obviously we didn't know if Melbourne were going to win their game or not, which they did, and then they have to leave it on to Freo about the Dogs. But the fact that you get a 4-week fine, and then if you make finals, you don't play a game,
very bad call.
Absolutely.
But we'll move on pretty quickly because we've got a lot to cover. But Adelaide Richmond was a bit of a meh game. Richmond ended up blowing them out by about 50 points.
Yeah, not much to discuss there really.
It was pretty expected.
Richmond being Richmond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brisbane beat Carlton not beaten by 3 goals.
Uh,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
This was where the respectable effort comment came in.
Play well for 3/4, play shit for 1/4. Oh, good job. Yeah, piss off.
I was ropeable in the second quarter. Like I was actually legit ropeable. Like we okay. So like what I said, we won 3 out of 3. Can't say 3 out of 4 quarters. We literally took it up to like fucking second on the ladder.
Yeah.
And then for 15 minutes, we just, I don't know what happened. Okay, so this is another thing that fucking shits me endlessly. And this is something we have, like, the group as a whole, obviously Teague as well, have to address. Like, we switch off in games. We switched off against the Swans. Switched off against fucking the Lions. Switched off against the Cats. We just won that. We switched off against, we switched off against Adelaide as well. That was shit. Like,
yep.
We've got some good play. We've got a good team in there, but we just, for some reason, we just switch off. Whether it be and Melbourne as well, the fucking round 2 as well. We switch off, and we don't need to switch off. We switch off when we can't switch off. Like we can't switch off fucking last quarter, and we just get overrun. We switched off against Port as well, like that. And as Russ said, like I think as a club, I think it's got to like. I have faith in the Carlton Footy Club. I don't know if I'll be saying that. What's the date now? 22nd. So March, April. I don't know if I'm saying that next year. I reckon if we get done against Richmond, I will not be happy. And if we lose against like one of these other teams, like look, like Kade Simpson doing well. Like he did well in his last game, but
good that he kicked a goal.
Yeah, it's a very good goal.
Nice.
But he should be playing and Betts shouldn't be playing. Like I find it extraordinary how Betts is still getting the game. He didn't even touch, like he had what? I think he had less than 5 touches. 5, maybe 8 at the most. Like, he didn't have much. And Kade Simpson was like
no effect on the game really.
Like Russ was like Daisy Thomas. He was having really good numbers, like one of his good seasons at the club, and then he gets fucking axed and like, all right, we'll bring and then the same thing. But they've gone on a tangent there. But gee whiz, it really fucking annoys me. Like and that's like I said to you guys, like we have to beat Richmond next year. Like that's gonna be like we probably won't, but you gotta aim high, and we gotta fucking beat these guys. Like they've been beating us up for 5 years. And I've had enough of it. I've had enough of the fucking hard week and these guys coming in.
Yeah, like look at the end of the day, like that's been Carlton's problem all season. They just can't put in a 4-quarter effort. It's like you're allergic. That and then if Cripps has a bad game, so does the whole fucking team. You can't just rely on Cripps to carry the whole team in his shoulders. Like, look, I know you had a couple of rough injuries this year, like with like Curnow out and whatnot. But yeah, like
it's about time he's gone into shoulder surgery.
Yeah, he's carrying them too much. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
He's literally carrying them too much. It's the old Juddy effect. He's just got them too much on his shoulders. Anyways.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Cheers, mate. Did you see our mate Darcy Lang, mate? He got cut.
Oh, Darcy Lang, who got Ben Silvani. So like, I was like, so when that happened, I was like, I thought Stephen Silvani was still like the list manager or whatever. So I was like, why'd they cut him? And then I thought, oh no, he's actually not list manager anymore. So yeah. And then Finbar O'Dwyer.
Oh mate.
Yeah.
Superstar. What's going on? Big Finbar.
One of the guys. So I know
yeah, exactly.
I used to know one of the old strength and conditioning coach for the Northern Blues. And he
Oh, those guys. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he got dropped from the Northern Blues. So that was like...
just like, say no more.
Well, yeah. But, it was pretty funny. And then, like, when Finbar got dropped, he sent... Like, he's probably a lovely guy. Like, we're probably just talking shit about him, obviously. But, yeah, I found it very funny. He messaged me and he's like, Finbar's gone. I'm like, it's very sad. Darcy Lang, he's probably got... Yeah, we'll see where he goes. Probably just go to EDFL level or something like that. Out in the bush, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Hawks got a good win against Gold Coast, only our 3rd win away from Melbourne. Very, very good ending to such a good career for Pioplo and Stratton. Brought tears to my eyes, being a big Hawthorn supporter. And Stratton finally kicked his 2nd goal with 9 years between his first one. So, it was just a fairy tale ending. So, It's kind of what we wanted as a club, and move on and look forward to what's coming. Sydney Geelong. What?
Yeah, go Ross.
Don't worry, I was going to say something, but it's all right. Just go on to the next game.
Go. No, go.
What are you going to say?
Go.
I was going to say, has there been any list cuts for the Hawks yet?
Look, if they don't cut Frawley this year, or he does not retire and comes back next year, I will get bent over. No, I'm not going to go that far.
Oh, you can't see the camera. Oh, no. That's good.
I'll get turned into a meme. I can't do that. No. No, Frawley needs to go. It'll be interesting whether Isaac Smith goes as well. He's another 31-year-old that's on the way out. So, yeah, like Isaac Smith didn't play like the last 2 months of footy. So,
has he not been playing? Oh,
that's very interesting, yeah.
He got injured and then he never got picked again because we were playing our kids. So
that is interesting.
So, yeah, it'd be interesting. But, yeah, big one is if Frawley does not go, then I don't want to see him back in our back line.
He's gone. It was the old Don Farnham retirement tour. He's gone. He's been there long enough. He's won his premierships.
Yeah.
Like if you said to James Frawley, you gone from Melbourne, who was shit, to like Hawthorn, who won flags, like he would have loved it. So
Yeah.
Isaac Smith's interesting, Beach. Where do you reckon? If he goes, where do you reckon he would end up? Or is he just basically forced in retirement? Like where do you reckon he would go?
I think. Look. I think tough one. He either retires or he stays at a Melbourne club. Obviously, he's got all his family in Melbourne, so I don't see him moving outside Melbourne. He's definitely still got his running capabilities. That's for sure. He has slowed down a little bit, but you got a booming left foot still, and he's still kicking bombs from 60. So I feel like a lot of clubs, Bulldogs, St Kilda. There's a number of Melbourne sides that could probably pick him up. So it'll be interesting. He's kind of in that position where Sam Mitchell, Luke Hodge, and Jordan Lewis were. He's kind of at that point, like they can play or they're going to retire. So
that's very good answer. Like that.
We had Sydney Geelong next. Sydney gave Geelong a real big fight, and I think Sydney next year, if they can add some talent to their side, I think Sydney will play a really big role and maybe sneak into the final. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, they had a lot of injuries like this year as well. And they were still competitive. Like I know Geelong didn't have the best game on Sunday, but I watched most of that game. Sydney played really well. Like I was really impressed. Like they probably should have won, to be honest. They missed a lot of opportunities especially in that first half, and they were dominating.
You got to remember
they didn't score. Unfortunately, they kicked a lot of points. Tom Papley kicked 1 goal 5. Like he never does that.
Yeah, you got to remember.
I think sometimes he loves to have a bit of me time. He's just got to kick through the ball, mate. Don't snap the ball. That's why he missed. He tries to do these little dribble, shitty kicks and these snaps, and he wonders why he misses. If he kicks through the ball, it changes the whole complex of the game. But
yeah, Russ, he does the Coxie push someone after he kicks a goal. Like he gets in your face. And I reckon as like a real small man, it doesn't go very well. Even Coxie doing it gets annoying. But they
are missing two of their stars. They're missing. If Franklin's fit, he automatically takes their forward line to a whole other level.
Exactly.
And Heaney's been out for the whole year as well. So
and Rampy was out for quite a while too.
Rampy's been out for the last month. So 3 players there that can come into that squad real easy. 3 of their A+ players. So
exactly right.
Especially you got Papley roaming around there and Franklin being the key target because Papley was pretty much the key target all year. So
that's right.
Yeah, be interesting. We had the Freo on the Bulldogs next game. Bulldogs won quite comfortably. Chloe, very happy with that.
I'm so happy. Like, thank God we won that because, look, if for example, Essendon had beaten Melbourne or whatever, and we were going to make finals anyway. If we didn't beat Freo, then there's no way we deserve to make finals, full stop. So it was good. Like, we needed to win by a comfortable margin like that, even though they're not, one of the top sides. They've been in really good form, probably like the last month or so. So, it was a very, very good win. I was very happy.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure.
So,
couple of injury concerns for the Dogs, though. What do you?
So Norton. So, what we've heard so far is that Bevo said that it's currently looking like a compressed cheekbone fracture. which is a good thing depending on its position. So if it was an eye socket, we'd be in real trouble. There's probably no chance we'd see him in finals. But because it's a cheaper and fracture, if it's low enough, then he can be fit to play next week if we need him then. So that's really good. So hopefully that it's a bit lower on the face, because then he'll just, especially going for surgery, come out and he's good. Wallace also had a bit of a worry with his shoulder, but what we've heard coming out of the club so far is that that's nothing to worry about. He just kind of copped a bit of a jolt to it. So should be all good on that front, which is good, especially after, losing McLean last week. We really can't afford to lose any more players.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely liking the Freos for next year, though.
You got some very good people flowing through there, so. Yeah.
And I mean, they were saying on the game, they actually have all their tall backmen are out. So, Luke Ryan, has been playing as their key defender. So, once they can get a couple of those players back there, they could be all right next year. They could be pushing. Well, I mean, they actually finished above. I think they finished above the Blues, did they, Jez? I think.
Yeah, we finished 11th.
Around the same percentage. And they're also, if they bet dogs, they would have overtaken the Giants. So they're all pretty much around the same as all those middle tier teams. So,
Freo
Freo
finished 12th, Carlton finished 11th.
So. Okay. So because they were above us before that game, they must have lost enough percentage or we overtook them.
They've definitely got a lot of young talent that are on the way up. They got Chera, Brayshaw, Sarong, Darcy in the ruck. He's still very young. So
he's improved out of sight this year.
He has.
Very good.
Very, very talented side. And moving into the last game, I don't know, Collingwood and who, Russ? Who played?
Russ is going to tee off.
This was a pretty good game. Pies gave it their all. They did as much as they could, but they're just no forward structure as always for the Pies. That's their problem. They got Mason Cox. He's just no good. He's just not good enough. They need to go for a key forward in the off season.
There's Rock.
They've got to go for Ben Brown or they've got to go for Jeremy Cameron. They just have to. I don't know if they have enough money in their salary cap though, which is the problem. Yeah, I think if they get a key forward, they could be they'll almost be the premiership favourite or definitely one of the premiership fancies. So they're an interesting team, the Pies. But the Power did what they had to do. They used their hardness as they always have all year, and they finished something later. They probably deserved it. So good on them. Yeah,
friend of the show, Matty Rolls. He was not happy. He was very mad. Just they did not do a lot of things.
Ropeable.
Ropeable. Just very annoyed.
I don't know, Jordan De Goey. That's what I was going to say. Jordan De Goey as well. Why did they put De Goey in the midfield? He played forward all game. Couldn't touch the ball, and they just left him there. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Fair enough, he had 2 good games in the forward line, but if you can't touch the ball, put him in the guts. Try something different.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. And then Jaden Stevenson, he's struggling as well. He probably won't even get picked next week, to be honest. But
it's interesting.
He's so good, and then he's completely lost his touch this year. So, I don't know.
I don't know. That's a great point, Russ, and I don't know what you guys are thinking about it. I think it might just be a case of he's just in different surroundings and stuff, and especially being a younger sort of guy, and someone who's had some stuff going on in terms of off field as well, it's and the way even when he was playing, he just looked out of it and just he did a couple of nice things, and it was good to see. This is why going on to a couple of Collingwood topics we can talk about, but Pendle's the fact that he went over to him and consoled him and stuff, and you can definitely tell obviously he's loved around the club, but he's he's a fucking great bloke as well. And I don't think Stevenson gets picked. Who have they got to come back in, guys? Do you know who Collingwood got to come back in terms of people?
I'm not sure.
Do a quick live.
Real unsourced here at the midcast.
Sidebottom's still going to come in.
No, Sidebottom's not coming back.
No, he's done.
Sidebottom's out for the season, dude.
Yeah, he's done.
Wasn't there an article saying he was going to come back?
So originally they said yes.
Yeah, then they retracted
it. They looked at the logistics and said it was going to be too hard. So he's Sidebottom's done.
That would have been good. Yeah, that would have been really good.
Sidebottom would have been fucking huge to come back. So we've got Sia, who's due to come back, Brusco, Reed potentially, which could be pretty good. Maine, Kelly,
Yeah, good.
and yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and then maybe Phillips in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He might actually still. Yeah, he might retain his spot. Like looking at unless Maine like is feeling all right in a week or so.
He's paying $1.01 to keep his spot, and he'll bet on himself as well. So
I like that. That's good. That's good.
You're terrible, Muriel.
I feel like I'm on fire tonight. Sorry.
Speaking of the pies, oh boy, well, another point as well, apart from Pendles. What was going on with Eddie? He's a
shit.
Oh,
I
how
almost
have we
forgot
not
about that.
spoken about this yet?
he's a Queensland citizen now. I don't know if you guys read it, but he's actually a Queensland citizen. So he's actually officially he called himself a Queensland citizen. He's not a part of the Victorian landscape anymore. So who's going to film Who Wants to Be a Millionaire over in fucking Queensland?
So while Eddie was
that I do not like.
So while Eddie was partying, Stuart Dew was that blind he was pissing out the front as well.
Hey, what?
Yeah, I love that.
I love. Yeah, and Dewey nonchalantly taking a piss is pretty. That was pretty fun.
Look, they're both not good looks for the clubs. Both being president and coach. Stuart Dew with a young side doesn't look good. Obviously the footage was a little while ago, but still doesn't look good for a young club. And Eddie always has his excuses, but he knows deep down he did the wrong thing. So
he'll never admit to doing the wrong thing ever.
Nope.
So.
No, and especially because he wasn't, because he's not in the isolation hub. So it's like, okay, yeah, fair enough. Well, maybe, you can quietly go about and do some extra stuff like, all right, you're allowed to go to a restaurant. Yeah, sure. But when you're kind of, I don't know, throwing it in the club's face, like going out, getting trash, taking, he's got his son up there apparently now too, then they're going out. And I'm like, it's just poor form, I think, especially considering how much of a heavy critic he's been on all the other players, calling them names, and it's just, don't throw stones.
Yeah,
It's glass house. Yeah,
just very hypocritical. Like, I just didn't like the way he went about it. And it's like similar, like with a lot of things. We've talked about this. He's just compromised as the president of a footy. Like, obviously, guys like James Brayshaw and stuff are like, as Russ said, at least James Brayshaw's likable, which I can 100% attest to. Because they're good people. But just Eddie, it's all hypocritical. It's all like, everyone else does something wrong. It's always, well, Sydney Stack did this, but it's like, well, Sidebottom did this. Oh, no. Actually, he was doing something else. Well, Eddie's just, and then he's going on Footy Classified. He's having like fake fights with Caro, and he's storming on set, and it's like, what are you doing, Eddie? Just stop that. And that annoys me as well. With Eddie, like he's this year's just been, he's just swinging, and he's just gonna swing, and he's just gonna, if he hits people, he doesn't, but he's just swinging anyway, and
that's how it is, man. It's just like I love that he's passionate. Like, it's good that he's passionate. Like, good on him, but. Yeah, he just takes it too far sometimes.
But it's always like, and it's always like someone else. It's like, it's like, okay, well, you're allowed to do it, but you probably shouldn't be, throwing it in people's faces like, oh, done this. It's like, I did find it funny how Jeff kind of came back at him as well. Like, there's a couple of heavyweights in that sort of situation, those boys. So, I just found it funny. He's a fucking Queensland citizen now, so he's not officially a part of Victoria anymore. So
he's a Queensland citizen, but he was out at a Queensland restaurant to do stuff for Melbourne hospitality.
That's right.
That's a good.
That makes a lot of sense now. He's a Queensland citizen, doesn't it?
That's a great point. I fucking forgot about that. So he's sorry, you go, Chloe.
No, all good. Yeah, so I was going to say for our few viewers, so just to explain that a little bit. So in the article that came out about that, Eddie's justification for why he was like, getting out and about, hitting the Queensland town was because he was doing a reconnaissance mission to see how all of these places were implementing COVID laws, because he sits on the Visit Victoria board. And I'm just like, oh yes, that's an 11 out of 10 excuse there, dude. Like, sure. Yeah.
It is very interesting. Anyways,
Oh yeah, that that wraps up the 2020 AFL season before we move into finals. But obviously it wasn't obviously great with COVID and all that, but still good to have footy going. So hopefully we're back at the MCG and Etihad Stadium next year.
I can't wait.
And hopefully that's something to look forward to. But yeah, more finals to talk about. But moving on to past footy. Still footy, but past games. Got the all Australian squads that got released today. So let's go off let's do the under 22 side. Under 22 side first.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, let's do it.
So obviously that gun side. And the players that made it, I've got it here. I did a lot of research, as you can tell.
Hornsey.
Yeah, Cornsey, they call me Cornsey. The under 22 side is pretty elite. So we got, and now there are a few questionable ones here as well. So let's all weigh in on these. So we've got the ones that I've ticked off here. We've got Hugh McCluggage. We got Wiedering, Sam Walsh, Josh Dacos, Ridley, Andy McGrath, Andrew Brayshaw, Chera, Darcy, Brian Myers.
I don't know about Brian Myers.
Yeah,
I think he's a bit inconsistent. He has his moments where he looks really good, but he's really in and out of games, I think. So
yeah,
he was a bit of a surprise one for me.
He does pop up 2 or 3 goals here and there. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because you can only pick from a certain amount of people, but I'll say at the end, the people that were stiff to miss. But another one that's pretty questionable, I think, and Jezza probably doesn't, but this is me. So Gold Coast had 8 to choose from. Jack Lacoste I agree with, but Ben King I don't agree with. I think Max King's had a ripper year at the Saints, but I don't think his brother's done enough to get a mention in the under 22 squad.
That's a big fucking call. That is a big call.
That's a huge call. I don't know if I agree with that either.
I don't rate that at all.
I actually don't mind this.
I do not rate that at all.
I just want to explain. So I know Gold Coast had a decent year, but there's just so many. It actually reminds me a bit like Grant Myers. There's times where he'll pop up and kick 2 or 3, but then there's times he's non-existent. I know it was just a week ago, against Hawthorn a few days ago, but he kicked 1 goal and had 1 mark the whole game. He can pop up every now and then, but there's so many games where he's not there. Where I feel like Max King,
I reckon that's the same for Max King though as well. I think they're sort of about the same. Max King might have had a better year, maybe based on stats, probably because Saints are just a better team and the ball's just going down there a bit more, I think. So,
yeah,
I think they've both got really good potential to be good players still, but it's really only potential at the moment. They haven't really shown that much yet. So,
another one that could be questionable is Isaac Rankin. Thoughts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yes.
Very good call.
Very good call.
I think I'll start it off. I think obviously he only played probably the last 8-9 games. He only came in the second half of the season, but he's another one. His first 2 games dominated, and everyone's thinking this guy's going to be a star. Ever since that, I reckon he's kicked 1 goal. 1 goal a game is good, but it's not enough.
I 100% agree. I don't think he's that good yet. It's all just everyone just thinks he's good based on potential. You can't just think because of potential that someone's got to be a star. They've got to prove it in the AFL first. They've named him in this under 22 team, but isn't it? It's meant to be this under 22 the best players from this year, and I don't think there's no chances he's the best 22 of this year.
Not at all.
Especially because he hasn't played the whole year as well.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, sure.
Who else we got?
Yeah.
We've got. Go, Clive. Go.
Oh, no, oh, good. I was going to say, I completely get what you guys are saying, but at the same time, him not playing the whole year is by no fault of his own either.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the Gold Coast team especially, there's quite a few young ones, so he probably had to fight a little bit tooth and nail to, get that first selection. I agree with you guys, he hasn't had a huge game every game, but I think he's been consistent enough to get a place in in the 22 squad. Like maybe not as fancy or as noticeable as some of the other players. Like like probably putting him against like King, Max King, for example, who can is quite clearly deserving of it. But I think he definitely earned his spot there.
Fair enough. That's okay. That's cool.
Yeah,
Play
like
devil's advocate.
you bring up a good point, but we'll agree to disagree. Like I think it's like Russ said, it's based on potential. Like obviously it's gonna be like all those Gold Coast guys. They're gonna be a good team in years to come. And I was just the way he played, like he just looked disinterested at times. Like he would just go half-hearted at things, and it's like
Exactly.
he's just a young player, obviously. Like and he's had like injuries and yada yada yada. But like he just looked like he just didn't want to go near the ball like at times. And when he was near the ball, like he do like a little sort of over the top fucking handball, not looking or something like that. And that was what got me annoyed. It's like, oh fuck.
Very cute.
Yeah,
Way too cute.
like he's got the skills to back it up. Like
That's a good description, actually.
Yeah, like it's like what I say. It's very cute. He's got the fucking skills to back it up, but he's just doing his little cute little handballs or like just dinky little kicks. It's like, yeah. But
So that's the one agree to disagree for a lot of people. Obviously, Gold Coast did have a lot to pick from, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. So we got Tim Taranto, I do agree with. Zach Butters. Butters.
He's overtaken.
For the under 22 side, he's a good G.
Yeah.
What do you guys reckon of him to overtaking Rosie and Dersma? Like swing it to you guys. Like, so what you guys reckon? Do you guys reckon he's a better player than them? Who do you reckon is the best out of those three?
It's tough.
Off topic,
they play pretty different positions. So like Dersma plays on the wing, Rosie's middle forward. I guess Butters is middle forward. But Rosie had his patches where he was hot. But I feel like Butters has been pretty consistent the whole year.
He's been really consistent all season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It was a bit of a surprise package, to be honest. I didn't expect, I thought Rosie would have taken off to another level. I didn't really expect him to.
That's what I was thinking.
But it's been good to see. Richmond have Liam Baker and Noah Bolter.
I didn't realise Liam Baker was that young. Okay.
Yeah, Bolter's been good.
So there are Bolton is there, but Bolton didn't get picked, and I'm just going to go over it later. St Kilda people made it Hunter Clark, Nick Caulfield, and Max King, which I agree with.
Yeah, fair.
And then last but not least, we've got the Bulldogs who Smith and Norton made it. Bailey Smith, that is. So,
Azalinka.
Yeah, I feel like very, very, very good side. I feel like you can't go wrong with most of those players. But yeah, and Ruck was Sean Darcy, I believe, as well.
Yeah, which
I had a problem with that squad as well. Who would back up Ruck? There's literally no one.
There was Oscar Allen. Oscar Allen was there for West Coast.
Yeah. Okay.
But his year's been a bit up and down as well. So
yeah, he's up and down. Yeah.
Both Adelaide and Melbourne did not have any players. So that's an interesting one. The players that missed. So we'll go through it. Just go through it pretty briefly. We got Zach Bailey and Jared Berry from Brisbane.
Yeah, that's Jared. I'm surprised to be Jared Berry to make it. I really rate Jared Berry.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I had him in my Supercoach draft team all year, and he was consistent all the way during the year. And obviously, AFL doesn't base it off Supercoach, but Jared Berry's had an excellent year, which is good. We got Harry McKay from Carlton.
I don't reckon that 22 team. Like that team's pretty stacked. Like
too inconsistent at the moment. If he could become more consistent, then possibly. But he only really played well the last couple of weeks. So
and he'd kick 4, and then the next week, like we wouldn't be able to kick a point, and he'd fucking kick 1.
4 against Adelaide. Who does Adelaide even having their backline anyway? Carlo was rested, so he would have been on some spud. So
is Rory Laird still playing back there?
One game for the year, the last game of the season, really, in my opinion. That's it.
Moving on to this one. This one's a bit controversial because a lot of people think he's going to win the Rising Star. So, Caleb Sarong did not get picked for the under-22 squad.
So you pick Isaac Rankine over him, and
Yeah, that's a good point.
Wow, that's terrible. Actually, that's a really bad omission.
So,
Not sure what was going on in the brain department there, but
Was Luke Darcy writing it up or something like that? One of those fucking guys, like us or one of those guys. Oh boy, who's writing that? Who's writing up that? Callum Sarong, and he's gonna win. Yeah, he's gonna win the fucking right. Well, him or Anderson.
It'll be between those two. And moving on to that, Anderson didn't get picked in the under.
That's
nuts.
I thought he got shafted a bit there. You really enjoy watching him play. He's a good little. He's a great player. One to watch, I reckon.
Watching him play against Hawthorn, he was their best player by a mile.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gold Coast had a few, but definitely there's others. Charlie Ballard, good player, doesn't make it. Connor Buderick doesn't make it either, but good player. Jack Bowes and Ben Ainsworth. I think Ben Ainsworth, he's had a good year, and I think he's a chance to make it over Grime Myers.
Yeah, Brian Myers, I don't know, like, as Russ said, he's just too inconsistent. Like, he'll kick, like, a couple, and then he won't do much. And then, like, yeah, I find that interesting how, like, you've got the two pretty much rising star, like, 1 and 2, and then haven't made a side. But some of those other ones definitely agree with, but, yeah, interesting.
Then you got Harry Perryman. Harry Perryman's had a very good year for GWS. Missed out.
Ooh, yeah, Harry Perryman's good.
Yeah, he's been solid.
Then you got Will Day, James Orpel. Yeah, I can even agree that they don't deserve to make that squad. They're good players.
Will Day's going to be good. All right, Will Day. Be good.
Yeah. North Melbourne. And this isn't interesting as well because I think one player here definitely could have made the squad and didn't. So you got Jai Simpkin, very good year. Yeah. But I think Cam Zerha could have made the squad.
Oh, the big Z.
Your mate, Jess.
Big bull. What did Beach say? He's dating Angry Dad's daughter. Yeah, well, that's interesting. There's a lot of testosterone going around those parts. The big Z, just a big. I actually like as a player, I rate him. Like he at least provides something that more forward line. Like, at least provides some spark.
Yeah,
and
at least he gives him that grunt. Like he's always going to be going hard. So
Sam Powell-Pepper missed out. Fair.
Powell-Pepper's.
He's had a good year. But
very young.
I feel like there's so many players like Boak, Wines, players like that just taking the ball off him. He had a few very good games. But I think you can't really beat a midfield of who do we have? McCluggage, Walsh, McGrath, Brayshaw, those Toronto.
There's some good names.
I don't think he makes that squad over those names.
No.
Then you got this one got me fuming, and Jez knows this already, but Shea Bolton didn't make the squad.
Bolton, yeah.
Pisses me off.
I think out of everyone that missed out from the 40 squad who missed out in the final 22, I reckon he was the most hard done by. Like every game I watched, he was on it, always put in 110%, like he's turning into a real key player for Richmond. So I thought he was very hard done by to not get included.
Yeah, and then the last one is James Rowbottom from Sydney.
That's another interesting. Yeah.
Very good potential. Like, probably not in the best 22, but he's building. Like he looks like he could be a really good player.
Yeah.
Do you know Russ? He's Brian Taylor's godson.
Hey.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff there. Yeah, fun fact.
No one else will know that, but
well, they've only said it on commentary about 50 times, and they always like, and anyways.
So that's the under-22 squad. Very, very good side, as we said. Shea Bolton, very stiff to miss. But all in all, it's a lot. For footy, there is so much to look forward to with all that young talent. For every side, is other than who didn't make it, Melbourne and Adelaide. They've got no good talent on the way. So
they shit next year. We'll move on to. Thanks, mate. We'll move on to
the All-Australian side. Obviously, that hasn't been picked yet.
Oof.
Where are we?
I have put
But
some
we're
names.
down to the 40.
I'll read out names, and then
Yeah.
obviously, if we go over an hour, we go over an hour, but that's okay. No stress.
That's been really good. I've fucking love talking to you guys. It's been good.
So I'll read out names that did make it, and then I'll read out names that didn't, same as what I just did. So, and then I'll get on to the point that frustrates me the most, which is wingers. So players that made it. So we got Harris Andrews. We got Harris Andrews, McCluggage, Lockie Neal. For Carlton, so Adelaide didn't have anyone either. So they didn't have any under 22 talent, and they've got no talent for the All-Australian League.
It's gonna shoot. It's gonna shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Carlton, Jacob Wiedering. Essendon has Jordan Ridley. Fremantle has Nat Fife, Ryan, Taberner. Geelong have Blitzarves, Dangerfield, Guthrie, Hawkins, and Menegola. Gold Coast have none, which surprised. Oh, no, it doesn't really surprise me, actually. GWS has Haynes. Hawthorn have Gunston. Melbourne have Gawn, Oliver, and Petrarca. North Melbourne have no one. Port Adelaide have Travis Boak, Butters, Darcy Byrne-Jones, Charlie Dixon, and Tom Jonas. Richmond have Dylan Grimes, Dustin Martin, and Nick Vlosten. St Kilda have Dan Butler and Jack Steele. Sydney have Tom Papley. West Coast have Gaff, Nat Nui, Ryan Shepherd. Western Bulldogs have Bont, Caleb Daniel McRae. And Collingwood have Taylor Adams, Darcy Moore, Pendles, and Maynard. So that's a 40-man. I have made my own little squad here, and obviously people are going to agree to disagree with this. But this is looking at all these stats, which I'm not going to read out because it'll take me forever. But yeah, a very, very good squad. But some names there that did not get read out, which infuriates the absolute heck out of me. And number one there is Jake Lloyd. Jake Lloyd is the best ball user off the half back line I've ever seen in my lifetime. Josh Kelly didn't make it. Lockie Whitfield didn't make it. Brodie Grundy didn't make it. Todd Goldstein doesn't make it. I know there's obviously not a lot of spots for Ruckman. Grundy and Goldie didn't make it, and Stephen May didn't make it. There's some of the names there that stand out to me.
I probably agree with Grundy not making it. He had a bit of an egg. Yeah, she hasn't really set the world on fire.
Yeah.
Hasn't really done a lot. He's just sort of just cruising around. Like, I don't know, maybe different environment, just struggling this year. But yeah, he just. So even last night, like he was getting a lot of hit outs, but it just not doing as much as what he's done in past years, I think. So yeah, the biggest one for me was Jake Lloyd. I don't understand how he's not in. Even Stephen May, like probably not in the 22, but he probably should have been in the 40, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I reckon as well, Christian, what do you guys reckon? I reckon Sam Walsh could have snuck into the 40 as well.
Yeah,
I reckon he's had a very good year. Just in the 40, not the 22, but I probably reckon he deserved the 40. Like, but the problem is they don't just categorise obviously wingmen and midfielders. If they actually did wingmen properly, Sam Walsh would be in the 40 because he was one of the probably top 3 to 5 wingmen in the comps. So.
Yeah, and I won't tread. Yeah, you go.
No, go, Jess. Cool.
Well, no, I was just going to say I'm not going to tread on Beach in terms of because I know he's got a lot of good thoughts about this. But if you're going to put Walsh in there as a winger, like you've got Gaff already, and if you put McCluggage in there as a winger, which obviously, but you're going to put him as a winger, like there's really no room for him. So unless you put him as a midfielder in there, or you just go, we'll put you on a bench. Like he's had a really good year. Like he'll probably win our PNF. But
for me, there's only wingers wise. There's Gaff, Walsh, Josh Kelly, Whitfield. There's not a proper. There's not a lot of proper good wingers. So yeah, but I've put together a side that I think could do it. So yeah, you guys can weigh in on that. And I'll tell you the and for the people that are watching whoever watches, a few viewers.
We'll get some viewers.
I'll tell you the guys that missed out on that backman on that spot, and I'll start with the backman. So, and I've got the list here as well, so I'll let you know what defenders missed out. So I've got for the starting fullback, I've got Harris Andrews. For
agreed.
starting centre half back, interesting one, and I'll it could go either way with one of them. I've got Blitzarves. Blitzarves, I feel like, has had a good year. Could go either way. We'll get to that. I've got Ridley in the back pocket. Ridley's probably the best intercept mark in the comp right now. Luke Ryan, another interesting one. I feel like he's had a really, really good year at Freo, but there are a few players there as well. And then I've got Haynes as well. Haynes makes it. And then I've got the little man himself, Caleb Daniel. Caleb Daniel is the best kick in the comp alongside Jake Lloyd. As Matty Lloyd said, I think it was Matty Lloyd, Caleb Daniel when me and my old man were watching Hawks Dogs, every time Caleb Daniel got the ball, Dad's just like, he's not missing the target. He's going to hit someone. So, but yeah, so that's me. So the defenders that missed, so you got interesting one as well. Nick Voston missed. I've got Maynard on the bench. Does Maynard start or does he sit on the bench? Don't know.
No, I reckon he sits on the bench. He's been good, but he's not starting.
But not amazing.
Yeah, this is the thing that fucking gets me every time about the All-Australian team. Like, I don't know how you approach the All-Australian team, because if you're going to do it, say as like a 22-man team is going to versus an imaginary fucking team or something like that, then you put, okay, well, you sort of, as you've said, Beach, and I think Clara said as well, you put your best 22 in terms of like where they're going to play well in the field. So I'm not going to put Caleb Daniel in a fucking, like, you know, a four-line, for example, like, or on a fucking, it's, or like as a pocket, as four pockets, or something like, you know what I mean? Like, just like, it's what's the All-Australian team for? Like, who is it? Like, are you going to versus a particular team? Is it just like the best 22 players? Like, that's what I think sort of gets lost in the shuffle in terms of everyone. Keep on going, Beach, sorry.
So the guys that missed, so we got Vlaston, got Wiedering, got Tom Jonas, got Dylan Grimes, and we got Brad Shepherd. Do any of those names make it over the squad I just put together?
I don't think Wiedering makes it. Like, the problem with Wiedering, like, I don't think he does enough as a number one draft pick. Like, he did have a good year. He improved. He stops the defender, but he just doesn't get enough of the ball. Like, whereas Blitzarves probably gets, I'd say, I don't know the stats, but I'd say Blitzarves gets more of the ball than what Wiedering does.
Yeah, I feel like the only reason I put Blitzarves in there is when he has gone back, which he has played back most of the year, but when he's gone back there, one-on-ones, he wins a lot of one-on-ones. So that's the only reason. So, yeah, there are a few players there. Brad Shepherd, good player. Does he make it? Not sure. So, yeah. And then there's Darcy Burn-Jones as well, which I don't think he makes it. So
he's okay.
Good player, but then I've got mids and rucks, and this is a frustrating thing. Like, if they pick proper mids, then obviously you got to do it differently, but they don't. So mids and ruck, obviously you got Gorn. Gorn's been the number one ruck this year by a mile. Then I've got Lockie Neal. I've got Jack Steele. I've got Jackson McRae. I've got Clayton Oliver. And I've got Travis Boak. And then I've got, on the bench, I've got Bontempelli. And then the other guys I could have picked from, McCluggage, Fife. Interesting one. Fife doesn't make it. For me, Fife doesn't make it. He's had a good year, but those players here have been, I think, head over heels above him. Got Cam Guthrie, Meningola. Meningola, again, good year. You probably haven't heard me say Dangerfield, and I'll get to that later. Who else we got here? Andrew Gaff, and that's it. That's the only
I,
one.
I reckon Meningol's going to make it personally. I think he's had a really good year. I reckon he's been
Yeah.
Geelong's best midfielder. So
Yeah.
I think I'd put him. I agree with all of them. I'd probably put him in over Oliver. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and for me, I think, like I get what you're saying about Fife, but I feel like someone like Boak would probably give way to Fife. But that's a tough one. I don't think, like, especially after watching him in the Dogs game, like, I mean, he almost freaking carried Freo to victory by himself. He's just his use of the ball is just on another level, honestly.
I think he's one of the better players in the AFL, but he has been injured quite a bit this year. So I mean, it's based on, like, sometimes I don't like they pick the squad just based on all, like, the best 22 players. It's the best 22 for the year. So if he's not in the best 22 for the year, then he shouldn't get picked.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Fair enough. And now forward line, I had to do a bit of research because I just wanted to see what they did last year in terms of putting players like Dangerfield, who played majority midfield there. So last year's forward line, they had guys like Dangerfield and Walters who probably played majority midfield and then go up forward. So based off that, I had the key forwards. I've got Tomahawk sitting out at full forward, outstanding year. Charlie Dixon at centre half forward. Again, another very, very good year. I've got Petrarca, I've got Dangerfield, I've got Papley, and I've got Butler.
Yeah, that's a good forward
line.
I've left Martin out of there. So the guys that could have,
I'd agree with that, honestly.
Yeah.
Like he's had a good year, but I wouldn't say great. But then it's hard too because, like, you know, like, no question he's an incredible player, and I guess it's hard to put him up when he's at his best. But no, I agree with that.
Sorry, go Ross.
Well, no, I was just saying, I don't know about Butler. Like, he started off the year really well, but I just think, I don't know, his last, like, sort of 6 weeks have been pretty shit. So, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
I think you still put it. Yeah, I think you still put him in there though. Like, I rate his season. I reckon he's done. Like, he was pretty much a Richmond sort of reject or off cut, if you will.
Yeah.
And now he was killing it the first half of the season. He was like, he was.
I'll put a question mark next to his name. Obviously, this is a squad I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
So if it does, I might chuck a bit of money on it and ask Gavin Stevenson for his tip.
Steve, mate, Stevie.
So the forwards that missed out, we got Taberner. Good year.
Yeah, great year. He'd be a tough one to miss out. But
Gunston finished third on the Coleman. Zach Butters and Liam Ryan. Liam Ryan, very close.
What about Liam?
Yeah, I would put in Liam.
I'd put Liam Ryan over Dan Butler, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Liam Ryan just much better foot skills. I reckon he'd have a lot more. I don't know the stats, but I reckon he'd have a lot more goal assists than Butler as well. He just seems to create a lot more.
Or even Liam Ryan over. Papley's a bit of a stretch. Like, I'd probably. It depends.
Papley's last month or two has been shit.
His last month was shit. But I think purely X factor, you'd want Papley in your best 22. And that goes back to my point. Like, why? What if we're gonna like Sabine if he's gonna select like Paps and stuff, like that's the reason why it's that.
It's like if your team's down by 3 goals with 6 minutes to go, what players do you think are going to influence the forward line to win the game?
Yeah. So I'm going Papley.
100%. Interchange, I've got Nat Nui back up ruck, which is pretty. Yeah. To be fair, Gorn's a very influential ruck, but when Nat Nui's up and about, out of the middle, he's
scary.
Yeah.
Scary. And that's exactly what Chris Scott said during the year when they played West Coast. When Geelong
he was so good in that game.
Chris Scott.
He said after the game, the problem about West Coast is you go back to the middle every time you kick a goal. And Nat Nui's the problem.
Exactly right.
Yeah. When you got guys like Shuey flying and Gaff in there and Tim Kelly in the year. Surprised Tim Kelly didn't make this squad, actually, because he's had a very good year. But when you guys got like that, and they're both good ball users, if Nat Nui puts it on a plate, you're hitting JK on the tit. So, so I got Nat Nui, I got Maynard on the bench, I got Dusty on the bench, and I got Bont on the bench.
Yeah, all right. Well, yeah. I'll see what Chloe. What do you reckon about on season, Chloe, as a dog supporter?
reckon-
Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, look, like he's he don't get me wrong, like he can definitely be like a bit inconsistent at times, but I think he's really stepped it up this year. So like, last year, he had a relatively good season, a bit quiet in some games. He struggled a lot with getting tagged, couldn't land a set shot to save his life. And but he's really stepped up in that point this year, which has been really great to see. Like, I think everyone's seen him getting a bit more aggressive around the ball, which like he always was to an extent, but now when it comes to the physical contact, I think he's really stepping it up to the opposition, which is awesome. And yeah, and like, now he rarely makes an error. So like, his handballs are clean, his kicks usually find their targets, and he's had a really good year. I think he's improved a lot since last year, which is nice.
I think with the captaincy as well, he's definitely improved in that sense.
Absolutely.
Like, he's actually like
For sure.
taking that on really well. At the start of the season, he was struggling a bit, and then he's done well. So,
Yeah.
definitely.
I feel like it's been probably one of Bont's best years, to be honest. I feel like every
Yeah,
time he's
absolutely.
he did have a slow start to the season. That's why I traded him out of my Supercoach team.
Yeah, get some good picks in. I like that.
But he I feel like he made most of his opportunities when he went forward. I feel like it's the first time for a little while I've seen Bont go forward. Like, he's usually kicking goals out of the midfield, but he goes forward and he pops up and kicks 2 or 3 every now and then, which is what you want. So, well,
And that's why he's like a better player, like better than players like a Patrick Cripps, who just like can't kick the
exactly.
goal.
Oh, yeah. That's a bit of
I
a
think
sore spot.
I think Cripps and Bontempelli are sort of about the same player, but Cripps
absolutely.
Cripps just can't kick for goal. If he could kick for goal, he'd be just as good as Bontempelli.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's the All Australian team. There, obviously, that will probably come out within probably the next week or so, and then we'll know off that. But there's a lot of good names and a lot of people that missed. But it's good to get your insight in on that. So,
Yeah, definitely rate the fact you've gone through and actually like sussed it out. Like, actually, like,
I love it.
you're a
Rate
good man
that.
for that. You've actually like set us up really well. So,
well, I knew you guys were pretty busy today, and I'm jobless right now, so might as well.
oh, it's all right. But still, you've done like, I really appreciate it, man. You've done fucking really well. It's been awesome, just like shooting the shit with you guys and just chatting about it because, there's some people in that panel, and there's some interesting people in that panel. Who are doing it, and it's a bit but yeah, it's been good.
Well, Jerry, let's wrap things up.
Is that are we done? Oh jeez.
No.
Yeah.
How long is this going to take?
All right, let me check the time. Oh shit, all right.
All right, everyone. All right, let's start taking bets. How long?
I was gonna say last week you want to
Hold on, wait. Yo, Jaden, how long's Jerry gonna take to wrap up? How much are you paying, mate? $1.01 for 5 minutes. 5 minutes? Oh,
fuck. I've only
Thanks,
got 5
mate.
minutes. That's a short time. Fuck. I was gonna say last week. I was gonna say like and subscribe, but I'm like, oh, we're not really gonna like and subscribe, are we? If you like the show, we've given you an hour and 10 of our best work. Just give us a DM, give us a message that you actually like the show, and get around the chats. Are we doing a show Saturday? We'll talk about that.
Yeah, but we're going to do a season review of all the teams that haven't made the 8.
All right, very nice.
That'll be done on the weekend, hopefully. So
perfect. So catch us on Saturday. And yeah, just thanks for getting around us. Great to talk to these 3 guys, all your people. And we'll catch you in the next one. Sayonara.
Mate, are you done?
Mate.